Everyone knows Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard to start Microsoft. What they don't tell you is that his mother sat on the same board as the CEO of IBM, that his grandfather was a national bank president, that his father was one of the most powerful lawyers in Seattle, that the private school he attended was one of the only schools in America that had a computer in 1968, that when IBM needed an operating system, Gates didn't build one, he bought one for $50,000 and kept the rights. That single contract turned a small software company into a trillion-dollar empire. Bill Gates didn't get lucky, he was positioned, and he made sure to stay that way.
William Henry Gates III, born October 28, 1955 in Seattle, Washington. His family called him Trey. Co-founder of Microsoft, first centibillionaire in history, richest person in the world for 18 of 24 years between 1995 and 2017. Today, his foundation has given away over $77 billion to fight disease and poverty worldwide. But here's what separates Gates from every other tech genius of his era. He didn't just build great software, he understood that where you stand matters more than how hard you work. He positioned himself at the intersection of talent, timing, and access. And when opportunity arrived, he didn't just take it, he structured the deal so every future opportunity would flow through him. Here are 5 lessons from a man who proved that greatness is positioning.
Lesson 1. Be where the opportunities are. In 1968, Bill Gates was 13 years old. Most schools in America didn't have computers. His did. Lakeside School in Seattle was one of the first schools in the country to give students access to a computer terminal. Gates and his friend Paul Allen became obsessed. They spent every free moment in the computer room. When they got banned for exploiting bugs to get free computer time, they made a deal. Find more bugs for the company, get more access. They turned punishment into opportunity. By the time Gates was 15, he and Allen had started a company called Trafodata, building software to analyze traffic patterns. They made $20,000. Gates later said, "I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time, but many others were also in the same place. The difference was that I took action." The lesson? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity, but you have to be in the room where the opportunities exist. Gates didn't just stumble into a computer. His parents put him in a school that had one. Position yourself where the action is.
Lesson 2. Own the platform, not just the product. In 1980, IBM approached Microsoft about software for their new personal computer. Gates didn't have an operating system, so he bought one, a system called QDOS, Quick and Dirty Operating System, from a Seattle programmer named Tim Patterson for somewhere between $50,000 and $75,000. He renamed it MS-DOS and licensed it to IBM. But here's where Gates outmaneuvered everyone. He didn't sell it exclusively. IBM got to use it, but Microsoft kept the rights to license it to anyone else. IBM thought hardware was the business. Gates knew software was the future. Within a year, Microsoft had licensed MS-DOS to 70 other companies. Every computer that wasn't an Apple ran on Microsoft software. Gates said, "We always knew that software was going to be the key." The lesson: don't just build products, own the layer that everything else runs on. IBM built computers. Gates built the operating system those computers needed. When you control the platform, you control the game.
Lesson 3. Leverage every advantage. Bill Gates didn't get the IBM deal because Microsoft was the best software company in the world. He got it because his mother knew the right people. Mary Maxwell Gates served on the board of the United Way alongside John Opel, the CEO of IBM. When IBM was looking for software partners, Mary mentioned her son's company. When Opel heard about Microsoft, he said, "Oh, that's run by Bill Gates, Mary Gates' son." That connection opened the door. Gates walked through it and structured the most important contract in tech history. This wasn't luck, it was leverage. Gates understood something most people miss. Advantages compound. His family got him into Lakeside. Lakeside gave him access to computers. Computers gave him skills. Skills impressed IBM. IBM gave him the contract that built an empire. The lesson: don't apologize for your advantages. Use them. Every edge you have, connections, education, timing, is a tool. The question isn't whether it's fair. The question is whether you're going to use it or waste it.
Lesson 4. See what others don't. In 1980, the entire tech industry believed hardware was king. Computers were expensive. Software was almost an afterthought, something you bundled with the machine. Bill Gates saw it differently. He saw that hardware would become a commodity. Prices would drop, competition would intensify, margins would shrink.
But software could be copied infinitely at almost zero cost. One program could run on millions of machines. The real value wasn't in the box, it was in the code. Gates built Microsoft around this insight. While IBM was focused on selling computers, Microsoft was becoming the operating system that every computer needed. Gates said, "We always believed that the magic was in the software." By the time the rest of the industry figured this out, Microsoft was already dominant. The lesson: the biggest opportunities are in the things everyone else is ignoring. When the crowd is looking one direction, look the other way. That's where the real positioning happens.
Lesson 5. Keep repositioning. Most people think success is about finding one great position and holding it forever. Gates understood something deeper. The game keeps changing, and you have to keep repositioning. When Microsoft dominated operating systems, Gates saw the internet coming and pivoted the entire company to focus on it. When he saw that running Microsoft was no longer his highest impact role, he stepped down as CEO to focus on philanthropy. Twice a year, he takes what he calls Think Weeks, 7 days alone in a cabin, reading books and research papers, thinking about where the world is going and where he should position himself next. Gates said, "Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. He doesn't just react to change, he anticipates it, he studies it, and he moves before everyone else realizes the ground has shifted." The lesson? Your current position is temporary. The market changes, technology changes, the world changes. The people who win long-term are the ones who keep repositioning, who stay students of the game and move before they're forced to.
Now, some things you probably don't know about Bill Gates. First, he memorized every employee's license plate at Microsoft. In the early days, Gates would look out the window at the parking lot to see who arrived early and who left late. He knew every car. Years later, that same parking lot is where he met his future wife, Melinda. He asked her out 2 weeks from Friday. She said that wasn't spontaneous enough. 2 hours later, he called her at home. "Is this spontaneous enough for you?" They dated for 6 years and married in 1994. Second, he solved a math problem that no one improved for 30 years. As a Harvard sophomore, Gates tackled the pancake problem, a puzzle about sorting stacks of pancakes with the minimum number of flips. His solution stood as the best in the world until 2008. When his professor called to say the paper was accepted to a prestigious journal, Gates sounded eminently disinterested. He had already dropped out to start some company called Microsoft. Third, he rocks back and forth constantly. In every meeting, every interview, every conversation, Gates rocks. His parents put him in a rocking bed as a baby, and the habit never stopped. He's been doing it for almost 70 years. People around him often say, "Stop rocking," and he says, "Oh yeah, you're right," and then keeps doing it. Fourth, he washes the dishes every single night. When asked about it, Gates said, "Other people volunteer, but I like the way I do it." The man who built a $100 billion fortune has strong opinions about dishwashing technique. Fifth, he wears a $24 Casio watch. Despite being one of the richest humans in history, Gates doesn't wear luxury timepieces. He wears basic Casio digital watches that cost less than a decent lunch. Meanwhile, he paid $30.8 million for Leonardo da Vinci's notebook, the Codex Leicester, because he wanted to study how a genius thinks.
Bill Gates understood something most people never figure out. Hard work matters, talent matters, but position matters more. He positioned himself where the opportunities were, a school with computers when almost no schools had them. He positioned himself to own the platform, keeping the rights to DOS when IBM thought hardware was the real business. He positioned himself to leverage every advantage, using his mother's connections to open the door that built an empire. And he never stopped repositioning, studying, reading, thinking about where the world was going and where he needed to be next. Gates said, "I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time, but many others were in the same place. The difference was that I took action." That's the lesson. Greatness isn't just about what you do, it's about where you stand when you do it. The question is, where are you positioning yourself right now? And is it where the next wave of opportunity will hit? If you want to go deeper, I recommend Source Code: My Beginnings, Gates' own memoir released in 2025, where he tells the full story of how he built Microsoft from the inside. Subscribe for more breakdowns of people who understood that success is a game of position.